It's going to be fun.
All right. On to the next one. This is pick number 21. The Kings, they said they traded it. Corey Kispert, I think it was traded to the Pistons.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Pistons.
Ooh, okay. I like that. I don't know what the trade is there, but that's actually a good fit.
It is. So it's Corey Kispert. He's a true 3-level shooter. Silky smooth stroke from beyond the arc. He's got fantastic discipline. He's extremely coachable. He kind of reminds me of like a poor man's Trey Murphy when I was looking at him. Kind of similar, like very, very low pass ball action, so you can mold him to whatever you want. 3-level shooter, just like Murphy. Just kind of like just a lighter version. But at pick 21, that's fantastic. Some of his weaknesses. There's questions about whether he can create his own shot. He's got questionable handles. He's got a poor steal block combination there, and he almost never gets to the free throw line. So I'm going to guess. Go ahead, Marcos. I'm going to let you guess first.
Andre.
Yeah, I'm going to guess Andre as well. Just because we're wrong?
With me.
I didn't think you'd create two players like this, so similar.
You're surprised I would create a shooter?
No. The fact that he's so similar to Murphy, I didn't think you'd create two players like that.
I don't necessarily think they're that close together, really. I think they're very different calibers of players.
I agree with that. I meant similar, like their play style is pretty similar.
They are. I never made that connection, but yeah, I can see it.
I didn't either until I was putting this together.
Fair. Yeah, but yeah, very good shooter all around. But he's not creating his own shot that much. It's mostly catch and shoots. He'll drive some. He'll pull up a little bit, but it's mostly I wouldn't say mostly catch and shoots, but he's relying on other people to create a lot of his shots.
I was going to say, I don't know if he's got the handles to do.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Drive and shoot.
He's very one-dimensional. Like, aside from scoring, there really isn't anything else that I would necessarily say that he's good at. I think his defense is okay, but he's not forcing turnovers or anything like that.
I'd like him a little bit more if he had 70% passing ball action.
You'd like him if he had higher pass ball action?
Yes, I'll tell you what, because I don't think he's as let's put it capable of, for example, posting up, of driving to the basket like Murphy is. So I see him as a great catch and shoot guy. Probably you have him post up as well to complement his offense, but I just wouldn't want him pulling up, I don't think he has the handles or the instinct to create his own offense. And I think pull-ups, while it's pretty good, it's something that you do on ball. And I'd want this guy off ball as much as possible,
I can see that. I still think the more shots that he gets, I do think it's a good thing. He might get a couple more turnovers as a result of that, just because his handle's not very good. But the shots that he takes are going in. I like him with the low ball actions.
I do as well.
It's a fair point.
I think there's other things you can do that you don't need his handles as much, like pull up or something like that. I'm with Kairos in that lower pass ball. For someone this talented at shooting at all three levels, his handles aren't the greatest, but I think there's other stuff you can do with it.
Yeah.
But for example, have him at 70 pass percentage, max catch and shoot at 20, have him 5 pull up and 5 post up. He would be amazing, You don't have to have him driving to the rim, driving and passing, driving and shooting. And
I think he's good enough shooting in the paint that I think it's okay. And he's a good enough mid-range shooter that, if his one basic dribble move, if his one basic dribble move gets cut off, he can still pull from mid-range and he'll hit at low 40% probably. So I think he'll be fine.
I see shades of Luke Kennard on him. And Luke Kennard is a very good player in this league. He has a problem. He has his passing is too high, and that leads to lots of turnovers because his handles are too low for a guy with like that high passing. But that said, Kispert is better at shooting probably because I think Kennard is a 40% 3-point shooter, and Kispert will be a little bit better. And he doesn't have that passing problem, so he's going to be an even better player than Kennard is. And I think personally that Lucas got a steal here because this guy is a capable starter, you know. At 21, that's great value. Great value. Absolutely amazing.
All right.
Talking about steals.
All right. So number 22. Sorry about that. My smoke alarm was randomly going off, so I had to fix that. Pick number 22 is the Grizzlies. Jalen Duren. Andre took him. He's a 3-level shooter. He's excellent in the mid-range. He's a very strong rebounder, both ends of the court. He draws fouls. He's a very versatile player. He doesn't have a ton of weaknesses, but the ones he does have, there's some questions about his handles. He's not going to shoot quite as much as you'd like for someone with his skill level. And he's a mediocre defender. He's not a bad one by any stretch. He's just okay there. And he's got a low IQ. I guess I'm going to go. No, I'm going to go Andre.
I'm going to go Kairos.
And that's a point for Doug. We are tied.
Oh, man.
You know what? I was about to guess Kairos, but I figured Andre would take his own player.
He's surprising me so much. I mean, oh, nice catch. My God, how did I miss this? Nice catch, dude. Nice one.
Thank you.
Yeah, Andre's made some fun players in this draft. Better than mine, I would.
Nice job, Andre.
Yeah, he's done a great job in this class. But yeah, Duren, he's actually the guy that if I thought Orlando would draft a big guy that would wind up playing on the perimeter, I would have gone Jalen Duren over Sengun.
Completely agree.
Because I think he's a more efficient shooter. I don't think he will shoot as much. It might be close, but I think he will shoot better, especially inside, because you'll have him driving a little bit. You'll have him posting up a little bit, and then he'll stretch out to the mid-range and 3 and take his shots from there like we expect him to. But he's also going to provide a little more shot blocking as a forward, and which Sengun is just not going to do. So that's where I would have gone if I was going to convert some center to play on the perimeter. Yeah, play power forward. But I think it's a good pick here for Memphis. That way we actually talk about the team that he's actually going to. I like the fit with Bruno Fernando. They currently have Vonleh starting, who I've never really been a big fan of in this league. Mainly because I had him once and it was a disaster, like 10 years ago. But I like the fit with Fernando a lot. I think he'll start there eventually.
How do you guys feel about this being the steal of the first round? Of course, we're not done in the draft, but
there's another one taken down below that I like better as a steal. Duren may not shoot enough to warrant being that big of a steal. I don't think he's going to be PJ Harrison or anything. It's not going to be that bad for him, but I don't know that I ever see him being more than like 12, 13 points a game.
Yeah, I think I know where Kairos is going with the steal, and we'll wait till we get to him, but I think there's a bigger steal a little later. But I do think this is very, very good pick, though.
Man, I was thinking like Doug told me something very wise. At this point, you basically pray that you get a +10 from someone, and this guy with a boost. Amazing, incredible.
With a boost, this guy is very good. Yeah.
Marcos, I told you that in confidence. You can't just be giving out my wise advice like
that. Sorry, man. Sorry.
I mean, I do it too. I'll put that out there.
Sorry,
it's unique information. Only I can know this stuff.
Oh man, sorry. Can you cut this? Can you edit this? Please? You put a bleep, Beep.
I can't. It's already out there.
Oh, sorry. Good for the league, I guess. Sorry, my bad.
No, you're good, man.
But I like this guy.
I'm just messing.
I like Duren a lot. He was my choice for number 25. Back when I sent the list, it was exactly at that point. But of course, Andre had to draft him. Like, what can I do?
I was a little surprised he lasted that long, but not terribly surprised. All right,
Next up is pick number 23. The Rockets were traded this one, I believe, to the Hawks. Who did the Hawks also trade it?
That's what I was actually trying to find out right now. I think he did. Okay. No, he just said the pick was traded. That's
okay. Maybe that's what was throwing me off.
Maybe he traded again. I have no idea.
This is Ashton Hagans. He's an exceptional passer. He's a strong defender. He's very good at defensive rebounding for a guard. Really good IQ and discipline. Some questions around his handles, especially for point guard. But if you move him off point guard, I don't think they're too bad. He's going to need a lot of instructions. This is a guy that I saw. He can't really shoot from across the break, but he spends a lot of his time there. So he's going to need some instructions. He's terrible at the rim. And outside of his corner shot, there's questions about the rest of his shot. So this has to be an Andre player.
This score's tied, right?
The score's tied, 12-12.
Okay, this is a Kairos player.
It is me.
Kairos, you made a poor shooter? What the heck is this?
Yep, so I don't think he's necessarily that bad, but yeah, he's not going to be a great perimeter option. But as you said, good passer. I think he's going to be more of a slasher. Maybe not the best player at the rim, but for a guard, his paint field goal is going to be quite high. So I think that's a big problem. It's a big problem in this engine is that guards don't get to the rim that much. They get to like that 3 to 10 foot range a lot and then throw up a terrible shot. When he gets there, he'll shoot it at a decent rate. So
really valid point.
That's fair.
I think that's something that could help him out a good bit, but the rest of, it might get him to maybe slightly below average efficiency, maybe average, but most of the value there is going to be in his passing.
I couldn't get a good feeling for this guy. I think my scouts were not good on him, but with the questionable handles and the very low above the break 3-point shooting, even though he's a pretty nice player outside of this, but those two question marks, those two red flags, like had me like stay away from this guy. Yeah, he's pretty polarizing. Yeah,
he's another guy that I thought, polarizing. I thought he might have a pretty wide range of where he would get drafted. I think this is kind of on the high end a little bit. I was looking at him a little bit when I still had this pick at 23. Probably would have tried to trade down if I wanted to get him, but wound up trading up instead. But my mock draft had him all the way down into the middle of the second.
Yeah.
So I would not have been shocked to see him fall there, given how much trade interest I'm having in Tyler Ulis right now.
Mm-hmm. I can see why a team would fall in love with him, especially if you've already got scores. Which, assuming he stays in Atlanta, they do because they just took Marshall. They have Giddey. There's enough other parts of his game because his passing's really high. His pass ball action is pretty high, so I feel like he's going to get a lot of assists. He's a really good defensive rebounder, which for a guard, he's going to force turnovers. Like I can see why he'd fit certain systems. It's not for every team, but I can see why some teams would like him.
The thing to me is that you have a guard. I mean, he's kind of similar to what let's say Danny Avdija is. You have a guy who wants to be in the post, who is a very good passer, but he also has a pretty competent corner shot, and he's not very good at shooting from above the break. So what do you have? You have a guy who basically wants the ball, but also wants to play off the ball, So having a wing like this, I think it's easier to incorporate a wing to the system, a big, like a player who can play the 3, who can play the 4. Hagans, who is basically essentially a point guard. How are you going to make a guy who wants the ball, but also who doesn't want the ball, fit in your system? And that's the thing you have to overcome with him. But
I think I have a slightly different view on him. What I would say is I do see him being on the ball a lot more than being off of it, but that most of his possessions involve either a drive and a shot or a drive and a pass. So I don't see him taking a lot of actual shots from the perimeter, which I think his ball actions kind of are what they are already. He's not catching and shooting a lot. He'll pull up a little bit, but as of right now, he's got 7 drive pass, 7 drive shot. So he'll get a lot of his stuff going towards the basket, which I think is a good thing for him.
Yeah. That's a way to overcome what he must,
Yeah. We'll see what happens. He'll be an interesting one to follow, I think.
Yeah.
Sure will. All right. On to pick number 24. The Bulls selected Stone Gettings. He's got a pretty versatile game. He's really, really good at defensive rebounding. He draws contact. He's a good man defender. He's got really good handles for a big. And he can stretch the defense a little bit, if he reaches his potential. So weaknesses, he's got some efficiency issues inside the arc. He's not nearly as good on the offensive glass. He's not going to block shots. And he's a little bit of an older prospect. I'm going to go Andre.
I'm gonna go. Something tells me to go Kairos on this one.
You're going with me?
Yeah.
Correct.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man,
14-12, Marcos.
Falling behind.
Let's go.
So, did Chicago keep this pick?
Yes.
I think so.
I like their draft a lot. It's a pretty good draft.
It's pretty Brock's draft,
Solid draft, yeah.
He needed a big to go with those guards that he drafted.
Yeah. And I think he's more – I want to say he's more of a 4 than he is an actual center or anything like that. He'll rebound well. He'll shoot well. But he's not a shot blocker, not somebody who's going to be finishing in close a lot. Kind of drifts out towards the perimeter offensively. So more of a power forward, definitely.
But what about playing this guy as a huge, massive 3?
I was thinking about that as well. I was thinking about that.
He has the handles. He has the defense to stick with outside players, So why not?
I was thinking about it. I don't know if he's quite the shooter to do that. He's definitely a tweener. I would definitely say he's kind of between the 3 and 4. Has some of the skills of a 3, but not all of them. Has some of the skills of a 4, but not all of them. But I can definitely see it.
Yeah, he might need to lose some weight.
Yeah.
If you are going to play him, I think 250's a little heavy. I think some of the wings would be able to blow by him, but I think he certainly has the capability.
He's listed as a 4, right? Yeah.
He's listed as a 4. I think he probably plays most of his time there.
Yeah, he's 6'9". Yeah, he can play both forward spots perfectly.
Yeah, I think if I was going to play him in the second position, it would be a small forward instead of a center. Definitely.
We said that there was a team with rebounding issues. That's the kind of player that you stick at a 3 when you don't have great interior rebounding, and just hope that he's excellent defensive rebounding does it for you. You know.
Yeah. He also has really high IQ for a big man. I didn't realize that at first, but it's way up there.
Sure does.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to pick number 25. This is Marco's pick with the Sixers, Payton Pritchard. He does not turn the ball over. He's got a really good shot. He's a really good man defender. He's excellent IQ discipline combo. There's some concerns about his volume. He's not the best passer for a point guard, and he's not going to fill your stat sheet with blocks and steals. This is a Kairos guy.
I'll thank Andre for creating this guy for me.
It is Andre.
Oh my gosh.
Woo! Marcos is pulling away.
It's
15-12. 5 picks left.
Yeah.
All right, so you guys keep talking. I need to change out headphones real quick, so give me a couple minutes.
Okay.
All right, Marcos, you pick this guy. Talk about him.
He's basically everything I want in a backup point guard. I don't think he's starting level material, but he is as versatile and as good as any other backup point guard could be. I mean, I could have a two who could be pretty ball dominant next to him, and he would be like the perfect player to spot up and shoot threes and defend and do all the dirty work while taking care of the ball. So that's why I love him. I really love him.
Let me ask you a question. If he were to get the boost, do you think he could start in this league?
Why not? I mean, I think he could start right next to the right shooting guard right now without the boost. But you need the right shooting guard to start next to him. You need someone who's very high usage to put next to him at shooting guard. I mean, for example, what's his name? Let me check.
You know who he kind of reminds me of? A little different, but he kind of reminds me of what was his name? Avery.
Avery Bradley.
Avery Bradley.
Yeah,
but better handles than Avery Bradley.
Yes,
but that kind of like really good 3-point shooter. Doesn't shoot as much as you want, but he's really good when he does shoot.
Let's say he's a
really good man
guard,
defender.
Yeah, he's a point guard, a version of Bradley, correct?
Yeah,
that's why I like him.
Because Bradley, I think his steals were like 60. So I think Bradley has a little bit higher steals than Pritchard's going to have, but Pritchard's got much better handle. So it's kind of like, other than those two things, they're pretty similar, I think, archetypes.
I was looking around here, and for example, he's a very good player, very competent player to start next to Donovan Mitchell, for example. You know, who is a very dominant. He needs lots of touches, and he needs floor spacers, and he's probably a very good shooting guard. You know, he's starting at point guard for the Jazz, but I know they're after a point guard to move him to shooting guard. And knowing that this engine doesn't affect the touches that much when you put a point guard to a shooting guard, I think he would be just perfect, you know. Or for example, take Isaiah Taylor and put him in his prime and have a player like Pritchard starting next to him at point, you know? It's just perfect. You just have to have the right guy next to him. It's not about him, it's about the other guy, you know? It's about the shooting guard.
I like it. All right. Let's move on.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Awesome.
We got you guys.
Cool.
Pick number 26 coming down. We'll try to do these a little quicker. Gabe Vincent. He's going to the Thunder. He's an outstanding scorer inside the paint and at the rim. He fights for every loose ball on offense. He's a very strong defender, and he's a unique one in that he's a guard that blocks shots, doesn't get a ton of steals, so he's kind of got that kind of swapped. He should contribute from day one. He's got very good IQ discipline combos. Weaknesses, he doesn't get the steals, like I mentioned. He's older, and he's got very limited potential, so I think that's why he lasted to 26. He's another guy that I was hoping would fall just a couple more spots because he's such a unique player, and not many teams. I think he'd be really cool to put on, put on a one of those guards that lights it up from three, like a Monk. He can actually, I think, block some of those shots. You don't get many guards that can block shots, but all right. So I'm gonna go with. I need to get this one right. I'm gonna go with Kairos.
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry.
Boo.
I wanted to go different.
Both wrong.
But,
We're both wrong anyway. I mean, thank you for picking along with me, Marcus.
Doesn't get you any closer though.
No.
I see Marcos playing defense already.
No, that was not the case. I really thought he was
I know.
a Kairos player, different one.
He is definitely
Shocking.
a very unique player. I was a little. If I remember correctly, this might have been the one where I asked Andre, like, did you mean to give him 60 blocks?
What did he say?
I don't remember. I just remember asking him something about some stat that was just like way out there. And I was like, okay, cool. I'm more than happy with it. Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I see this guy. It's very unique. I don't know how well it's going to work necessarily. I don't know if he kind of works as like a cohesive player. I think it's a bunch of cool skills kind of put together. I could kind of see him in a weird way, kind of like what Gary Payton II is for the Golden State Warriors a little bit in real life.
Very good comparison.
A guy who just kind of chills inside and waits for the ball to come to him a little bit, and then just does a bunch of weird stuff defensively. I could kind of see that maybe, but it's kind of a weird one to put a comparison on.
He's pretty much a guy who creates havoc.
Yeah.
Is that what he say? Havoc. I know.
Yeah, a lot of havoc.
Yeah.
I forget who said this on the boards, but I like how he's like the total opposite of the real Gabe Vincent. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, the real one is very steady, and this guy seems
he's all over the place.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a fun one to look at. The guy he reminded me of actually in the CSL was Dikembe Dixon, who's on the Milwaukee Bucks. He's the guy, I don't know if you remember years ago, I'd created a guy with a random number generator. That was Dixon.
I remember.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah.
Didn't he have crazy high
so he just had
drop
some
foul or
wild
something, too?
block number and like I forget what it was now, but he just had some random assortment of things and it turned out okay. And this guy kind of reminds me of that a little bit.
Yeah. Where do you think John plays him? At the 3? At the 2?
I think
At
he
the
moves
4?
over.
You're the 4? Isn't he like 6'1"?
Yeah, he's 6'2".
So
It
small
would
for
be
that.
so crazy.
That would be
but
fun.
Hey, that would be interesting. I mean, you
The
should
amount-
try it. At least
the amount of crap I got for playing Exum at center.
Oh my gosh.
But definitely he can play the 3. He can step
Yeah,
up
he has
and
the
play
he has the skills
right?
for it. I could.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's kind of a power forward and like a point guard's body. I could see it.
Yeah. He's probably backing up both RJ Barrett and Quindary Witherspoon, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What I would like to see is
Good, bro.
probably small forward and then guarding up a position, guarding power forwards or something, and see how that works.
Yeah.
That'd be something I'd like to see.
One thing is he doesn't have the rebounded to stick at the 4, right? So that might limit his upside guarding force because he'll basically be stuck to them on the defensive possessions, right? And probably he can be abused on the glass because of this. So
Maybe, but he'll have he'll have Bagley, he'll have Clark,
Yeah, yeah.
Deontay Davis behind
No,
him grabbing all the rebounds. But
yeah, sure.
I see what you're saying.
I'm saying
100%.
in an isolated situation, for example, where any team doesn't not talking about the Thunder specifically, he's a unique player in that way. He'll be able to play up and guard up, but he'll be abused on the glass. So is it worth it? I don't know.
No idea. We'll have to find out. I think John should play him at every position and see what happens.
Yeah. Except center. We don't want to break the game. All right. So pick number 27 was the Celtics. They took Wendell Moore. He's got the potential to be extremely well-rounded. He could draw a lot of contact if he gets there and make his free throws. He might become a strong defender. He's should be a pretty strong rebounder for his size. And he's got great discipline. And I keep saying could be in potential because he is one of the rawest players in this class. He's incredibly raw. He's got a very low work ethic. And even if he hits his potentials, he's kind of one of those guys that he'll be good at a lot of things. He's not going to be elite at many things other than drawing contact. That seems to be something he could be really, really good at for a wing. I'm going to go
Fires.
Andre.
I kind of gave this one up on the boards already.
Yeah.
That
Under the thing, I mentioned kind of why I created him a little bit.
That one shouldn't count. Okay, that doesn't
Yeah,
count
we won't
because I
count
saw
that
this
one.
post.
I
saw
didn't
this
know. I didn't know. Marcus,
Okay.
did you know?
No. I saw it. I saw it.
Okay.
So the story behind that, for those who didn't see it, last year maybe during training camp, we noticed that like everybody good was just getting 70% of their potential filled like right away, and to which Miami's GM kind of said, what if we had more players with low work ethics and a lot more raw, and just kind of see what happens, like as in the whole classes should be a little bit more like that. I didn't make the whole class like that, obviously, but created a few random guys with just crazy low current ratings and pretty good future ratings. So that's kind of more was supposed to be one of those guys. I think he'll turn out pretty good. I think he'll turn out similar to, who am I blanking on? One of the more well-rounded small forwards that we had in this class. I think he kind of gets into that same realm. Kind of that
Nesmith,
Aaron Nesmith.
kinda? Okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. That's kind of where I think he probably winds up if he hits 100% of his potential, which I think is extremely unlikely, but we will see.
He was one of the
it'll be
guys
fun.
on this. Sorry, Doug. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, yeah, it will be fun to see how he does develop.
Yeah. When I mentioned that there were lots of wings that were going to be drafted later in the first round, he was one of the guys. And my initial thoughts, of course, I didn't do it, especially because I saw Pritchard available. But my initial thoughts was, what the hell? We just want a ring. Let's just pick the biggest, the rawest player in the draft, the one with the most upside, and draft him and develop him patiently, because we probably won't need a rookie or a sophomore, But so
yeah, worth a shot.
He was very
Everything to gain.
intriguing to me. I think Dennis, who is in a pretty similar situation because he doesn't need a wing right now. He doesn't need a player right now. Let's put it that way, because Boston is really good right now. It doesn't need more depth. So
yeah, I'd say let him chill in the D League for 2 years. Let him go through training camp. Let him work through his issues in the D League and see what happens from there.
Yeah, and
year
at
3,
27,
kind of bring him up. That's kind of what he did with Kevin Knox back in the day.
Yes,
I think he'll do something similar here.
At 27, you can go better than this, I think. I mean, there was a guy I'd pick before him, but who is kind of a more, but with all the rawness, So
I think he's the next pick, isn't he?
Yeah, probably. I think
Yeah.
so.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
Yep.
this guy. Of course, he went to the Miami Heat. Of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah,
the logical had to draft him.
It's a great pick for Miami, I think.
Is this the one you were going to say is steal of the draft?
No.
No.
No?
Okay. This is what I was going to say. Was
He is a steal, but I don't think he's the steal off the draft.
Okay.
We'll get to that in a second.
Okay. So so this is the Heat. They took Kris Wilkes. He's a very good shooter, strong handles for a wing, versatile on both sides of the court. He's a guy that can play up and down the lineup. He's well-rounded. He's a good all-around defender. He's not going to be elite at any one particular thing. He's not going to block many shots, but I was really finding it hard to find any weaknesses on the guy. He's a perfect Miami player. He doesn't really have weaknesses. He can shoot. He can do a little bit of everything. To me, he kind of looked like if Moore were to hit all of his potentials, he'd be a kind of similar player to Wilkes, but Wilkes has like a much higher floor.
Yep. I think this is the kind of player that Dennis was hoping to draft.
Yes.
Could become him, but
and I think this is the safer version. I think
agreed.
He's probably going to be just as good, if not slightly worse, maybe. But the floor is much higher.
I had Wilkes right next to Pritchard, right after Pritchard in my list, and I would be pretty happy with him as well. I mean, we're talking about number 28, and that's a guy who probably can start for some teams in this league, right? And he could probably start as a rookie. You know, his game is well-rounded that much, so he's not going to be very impactful, but he's going to play his role and do a little bit of everything. I mean, at 28, that is like incredible value. Congrats to Silo for this pick.
Marcos, who do you think created him?
Andre.
I'm going Kairos.
You have
point to Doug.
Oh.
All right. How many points am I down now?
It's 15-13.
Okay,
two
so
down
we got
with
2 picks left.
to go.
The last one we're gonna have double points.
Okay.
The last one we're gonna do double.
Just the very last pick. That way.
Fair enough.
We should have done. We should have
done
done double picks for the entire 20s. I forgot about that.
Fair enough.
All right.
How about this? Since Doug is 2 down, Doug. How about just Doug makes the picks?
Fine.
Ooh.
That way, if he gets both of them right, it's a tie.
It's a tie.
Then we'll
That's
figure
fine.
something out from there.
That's fine. That's fine.
I accept these terms.
All right. I mean, they only benefit you. They don't benefit.
But listen, if we got a different opinion, of course, as it closes, right? As it's closer to this. If I got a different opinion before you reveal it, I'll say
sure.
I think he's right or wrong. Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, I was gonna let Marcos go first, and I was just gonna pick the opposite of whatever he picked anyway.
That's basically what you need. Right?
All right, we'll figure it out. Let's see what's next. I forgot who was picked here actually. So.
This is
okay.
The Warriors. I know it was traded. I have no idea who to, but Luke Petrasek. I'm gonna have to rely. I basically had to rely on what was in the comment thread because I don't think I scouted this guy at all. It appears that he's got very good corner 3 shooters, got a good jumper, draws some contact, really good man defender, and good discipline. Whereas some of his weaknesses, poor rebounder for his size, won't get many blocks, steals, and some questions about his volume. Does that sound somewhat accurate to you guys, or what do you think?
I think that's fairly close.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say excellent man defender. I think he's all right.
Okay.
And like I said, like you said, I would question the volume a little bit. I don't know that I necessarily saw him as a first round pick.
I think he is. I mean, even though 3&D guys have slightly less value right now, I think he's probably worth a guaranteed contract. You know, he has enough corner shooting and defensive ability to be featured as a three, a big three off the bench.
I think,
Interesting.
Yeah, I think I would like him more with a +10. He's someone that I think a +10 either makes or breaks him.
Yeah, especially because his pass percentage is his pass ball action is very low, so a +10 would make him even better. And he can shoot from the post, he can shoot from mid range, he can shoot very well from the corner. So it would really raise his ceiling a lot. But
yeah, I think as it stands, I don't know that he's going to be a regular rotation guy. But +10, I think the offense definitely gets him there.
And there's an underrated aspect of his game, which is drawing fouls. He's very good at this. He can.
He is, yeah.
He's very good at the balance. He has good discipline and can draw fouls on the other end. So this is going to make him a steady player. I think he's not. Wow, he's just gonna play his role and be a good bench player for me, at least.
Okay.
Okay.
So who do you think created him?
So
Andre.
I think you're right.
Both wrong.
Oh,
this was me.
So you were just poo-pooing him so much. I'm like, this can't be a Kairos pick. Wrong again.
Yeah. So
what was the idea of creating a 6'10" guy who is basically a shooting guard bar small forward?
I don't know what part of that surprises.
No, of course.
You want to rephrase that, Marcos?
Talking like this makes me look stupid because
that's all right. That's all right.
That's clearly a Kairos player.
Yeah,
I'm just stupid.
That's all right. But yeah, no, I just wanting some stretch forwards and stuff like that. I think he's a pretty typical kind of that prototypical fringe roster player who will stretch the floor a little bit, but doesn't really give you a ton in other areas. Decent defender, but
that kind of
crazy.
European stretch four, yeah,
a little bit.
Okay,
what?
I don't think he's a Euro guy, but yeah.
What kind of team do you guys think he'd be a really good fit on?
Anywhere that needs shooting, I think he's another guy that I think I would say fairly similar to Sengun, but not quite there. So Orlando is somebody who could have used him if they had like a second round pick or something. I could have seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Really anywhere that needs shooting.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy, when you're talking about 3-and-D, almost any team in the league needs this, right? So it's one of the most covered archetypes of players. There's not much to say.
Okay.
And here is my steal of the draft.
That's what I like to hear.
You traded for this pick, didn't you?
I did. I traded for it well ahead of time. It's not like, hey, it was on the clock and I traded for it. I made this trade
I didn't know about
several
that trade
days
at
ago.
All. Well, yeah, I think he's my steal of the draft. Any guesses, just as a formality, on who created him?
I'm gonna guess you, Kairos.
Kairos.
That is correct.
Yeah,
and not just because he went to South Carolina.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very.
He
cool.
played like 4 games in the NBA and then went to Europe or something. But yeah, he did play at South Carolina for a little bit. But yeah, outstanding shooter. That's the main thing here.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, he's honestly, I was kind of surprised he was still around at 30 just because his outside shooting, especially his across the break, is out of this world. So that was really good. He's going to generate some steals. He's not going to be a ball thief or anything, but he will force some turnovers. His scoring's not bad. His scoring's solid. He's got solid playmaking for what I see to be his like a combo guard. For a pure point guard, I don't think his playmaking great, but for like a 2 or a combo guard, I think it's pretty solid, which should give him some more volume. And he's got really good discipline. He's as good as he is outside the arc. He's pretty bad inside the arc. He's a poor defensive rebounder, like really bad, like doesn't even try. He's a subpar man defender. He's not awful there, but he's not good either. He's just subpar. And his handles for a starting point guard, I think, are just a little too low. So he's not perfect. I think he would have gone earlier if his pass ball action were a little lower. So I'm gonna have to experiment to see how I can get him more and more volume. Because I'm limited there because his pass ball action I think is 80.
80.
But I think you covered it. Yeah.
I was thrilled that he was still there at
I think that's a great pick
at 30, especially because it's so hard to find a guy that shoots well from across the break and will actually shoot. Like I don't think he's going to average like 20 points a game or anything, but I think he should average double digits relatively easily, assuming he can get minutes.
I think it depends on how many minutes you're willing to give him with his defense, with him maybe being turnover prone if he's going to be a point guard. It's kind of a balancing act there, but I think the minutes that he plays, I think there's a decent chance he could be a pretty decent flamethrower from 3. Especially if you give him a +10.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but I was going to say
that would be a big candidate for the steal of the draft if he manages to get that +10.
I agree. Again, like
probably Kyrie's just jinxed it. So I wasn't going to say this, but
he's gonna be the first player to get a -10 to his score.
The first -10 was when Thaddeus Young tore his knee or whatever. But, that's a whole different discussion.
I remember that.
That ruined a championship probably. That's whatever.
So,
but,
all right.
Yeah, no, I think Gravett is probably one of those guys that's gonna outplay this position. I think his defense isn't bad enough to. It's not great, obviously, but I don't think it's bad enough to make him not play. I think at worst you see good backup minutes.
I like him a lot because it's very easy to figure out how you're going to play him.
Yep.
You essentially want him as a combo guard, as probably more of a shooting guard than a point, and you just want him to catch and shoot and pull up from the logo. Basically, that's as simple as it gets. He has good enough volume and good enough defense. So why bother? He's probably going to outplay his draft position because of this. How simple it is to make him an impactful player.
Yeah, and I like this pick for Portland, especially considering there weren't a lot of scorers on the team prior to this draft. I think there's a good opportunity for him to get more shots than he would on another team.
Yeah,
he was somebody I was thinking about. I was trying to move back into the late 20s. Wasn't for him, but if my main target was gone, which he now is, it was actually Francisco. I think 31st pick, 32nd pick. Looking at him, but Gravett was going to be that backup option. Just put him behind Monk and just have him kind of do the same kind of thing.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think he's going to be very good, Doug, with next to Halliburton. And
Murphy.
Yeah.
I think
we'll see. I saw I've got Byrutis, who's an inside scorer. I've got Horde, who's more of a slasher. So I did want to add some shooting. And I have Halliburton, who's a really good outside shooter, but there's some questions about his volume for obvious reasons. So I figure between Murphy and Gravett should be able to space the floor well enough for the other guys to go down low. So I think I accomplished that. If either one of those guys gets a +10 boost, then I'll be thrilled. Honestly, I'd be thrilled if any of my guys get boosts. I still have one other pick coming up in the early second round. So
what pick do you have?
pick 30. Well, it's technically 38, but
Okay.
37 was forfeited, so it's really pick 37.
Might hit you with an offer at some point. We'll see. See how
I'm
it goes.
open for business.
Okay, business in the podcast. That's nice.
I mean, we can talk trades right now while we're here.
No.
We can
Won't
talk
do that now.
off recording.
No, I'll leave the room. Okay.
No, that's all right. I don't have a formal offer for you right now.
Nice.
We'll get something though.
All right. This went a little longer than I expected, but thanks so much for coming on, guys. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for hosting.
So
Thank you very much, man.
I think it's time for dinner for me.
Yeah, honestly, I love doing the draft so much that like
It is a lot of fun.
as soon as it's over, I'm like looking forward to next year's draft already.
Yep.
So thanks again, Kairos, for you and Andre for putting this draft class together. There's a lot of fun players.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kairos. Thank you, Andre. Thank you,
All right.
everyone. Also,
big thanks to Andre. He's done a better job at this draft than I have, I think. So.
No,
Yeah,
you guys did a fantastic
fun.
job with
Guys are
the scouting system
Fantastic
overall.
tandem.
Yeah. This year it was much better to scout because it was less periods, more scouts per period. I'd still like to see a little bit less periods, but it was very nice overall because it wasn't too time consuming both for you guys and for us, and this is better
good.
for the league overall. So thank you for this change. And also thank you everyone who helped with draft spotlights and articles and talking about the draft and hyping up the prospects. Really need this in our league to become more easy for those who are working for the league, that the whole league helps them. This is very important. We gotta be united.
It's been a massive help for other people doing some of the earlier spotlights. Because in past seasons I would just hammer out like 20 of them, and then
that's not sustainable. Know this.
It wasn't.
I know this as well.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was actually I think it was your suggestion, Marcos, to have people just start with those. That's kind of the intro to the scouting season.
But more than the credits for the suggestion, I just want to thank people for embracing this, because this is so important.
Yeah,
so you and Andrew, for example, doesn't get burned out with the stress of the draft and creating draft classes and sending scouts and then the articles as well.
Yeah, the creating of the draft class is what keeps us going. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
All right. And thanks again, guys. And thanks everyone for listening to another episode of the Choke City podcast. Until next time.